嗨，大家好，欢迎大家来到 G.R.M.T 连结内在真我读书会的第六次线上读书会。然后今天我们要继续探讨，就是 What do you really want？就是你内心真正想要的是什么？然后继续来连接我们的灵魂，然后继续请那位老师跟我们分享他的人生智慧。OK，welcome，洛伊。
Okay, 谢谢. Okay, so I've got my hard copy here, the original published one. You've got this too, Bonnie. I was thinking about this chapter. So just to say what this chapter was, this chapter here is called The Shaping of Beliefs. I don't know if you can see that, shaping of beliefs. Okay, and it starts out with the first 9 months, time in the womb, which might seem time in the womb, inside a mother, it might seem a funny place to start, but it definitely has an impact on our experience.
好，就是我们第五章的话是在讲说我们是什么形塑我们的信念，然后其实在我们还在妈妈的肚子里面，就是还是胚胎的时候，你的信念其实就已经在形成，已经在接收了。OK，
Yeah. Okay, and then we looked at that. Then we looked at the idea of birth, the birth experience, and we had a discussion about that and how the process of coming into the world, the transition from being in the womb to being in the world, which is a very scary experience, how that could influence our feeling for what life is like in a human body in the world, right? And the types of kind of the beliefs or type of feeling we could get about life. Is life safe? Is life dangerous? Do people attack me? Is it safe for me to be here? Those sorts of things.
就是包含我们在出生那一刻的时候，我们受到的冲击，都会影响到我们对这个世界的一些感觉，还有信念。就是你可能会觉得，哎，这个世界好像是不安全的，或是，哎，我好像会被打，然后好像外在是很危险的。就是我们在上礼拜的读书会里面就有探讨我们出生前跟出生时的这些创伤对我们人生的影响。OK，
Okay, and we also touched on how the experience of birth, which is when we take our first breath, excuse me, having difficulty breathing. It's when we take our first breath, how that experience of taking our first breath, how that can affect our relationship to breathing, even. You know, if that's a painful experience, if that is really scary, that can have an influence on our sort of experience of holding on and wanting to be here and engage in breathing.
就是我们的第一口呼吸有可能是讲到你的亲密关系啊，或是你可能在很多时候都会不自觉的屏住呼吸啊，对，等等的。
Okay, so that's kind of where we got to, but we also talked a bit about what we learn from our parents, and that our parents are our first model of how to be in the world.
就是我们的父母是我们第一个原型，就是我们会观察我们的父母，然后看他是怎么存活在这个世界上的。
Yeah, and so you can think of our infancy and our childhood. There's a lot of years there where we are exposed, repeated exposure to our parents' beliefs, patterns, behaviors, their relationship to each other or not, all of that, we are embedded in that. We are in that, experiencing our parents' lives, their emotional responses, their ways of dealing with relationships, and we are learning. This is the first sort of learning process. Is modeling, is examining what they're doing and taking that as a model for our own use when we need it, when we are called upon to have those styles of interactions. So the basic point there is that our parents they're a high status teachers. We are looking to them. We're not even looking to them. We are just, in their life, and we are sucking up the learning we get from observing them.
就是我们从婴儿时期到童年时期，我们就是一直在那个不断的吸收我们父母他们相处的方式啊，然后他们在关系里面是怎么的互动，然后他们对于别人的对外在啊，对于整个世界他们的互动方式是什么，我们会一直就是全部的 copy，然后或是直接模仿他们这样，因为他们就是我们第一个最高指导的老师。
Yeah, copy is a good word. Good word.
Yeah, or imitate.
Imitate. Yeah, imitate. Yeah. Okay, so our learning is we are doing a good job of taking in all of these things. We are looking, we are copying, we are imitating our parents' patterns, and this is the word you can see this slide. Yeah, it doesn't show up very well. Patterns. So patterns are there. Patterns are our ways of, well, we know what a pattern is. If you think about material and a dress or shirt, clothing, you have a pattern and you follow the pattern, and every time you make it, you're able to do the same one again and again and again.
Pattern 就是那个版型跟那个模式，你就是可以，比如说衣服的板子，然后你就可以有一个固定的模板，然后就可以一直复制，一直复制。
Yeah. So in the family, the pattern is established in us, the child, by repetition, by repeated, seeing this pattern take place. So our parents are repeating their behavior because that's their standard, that, whatever it is, it'd be the standard behavior. Just like all of us, we have our standard response. We have our ways of doing things in the world. So our parents had their ways of doing things in the world as well. And as their children, we will be copying, or we will be internalizing is a good word, because we might not necessarily directly copy their behavior, but we certainly take it inside of us as one model of how to do things.
就是父母跟所有人一样，我们每个人都会有一套自己的内在标准，然后我们会一直从父母这种重复的这种行为还有反应，然后我们就会慢慢的内化成我们自己的行为反应。
Yep. Okay. And so all of the patterns we observe and learn, they will be associated with good feelings or bad feelings. They might be associated with, getting good results. They might be associated with avoiding problems. They might be associated with, receiving good things. So they'll have pain and pleasure attached to them in different ways.
Sorry, I missed that part.
Well, the key word there is in the book. There is association. So our beliefs we are going to get beliefs about how things are done, and how things are done is the pattern. And those patterns are going to have a whole bunch of associated feeling experiences or emotional experiences attached to them.
就是这种模式，它都会有很多的信念，还有很多的情绪感受跟它连在一起。然后可能做这个模式之后，它会得到的效果是好的或是坏的。我们会有一整套的这种连在一起的这种模式。
Yeah. So so some patterns, and the beliefs with them, they will be more emotionally intense. You know, they will have stronger feelings associated with them.
就是某一些特定的模式，它可能会跟那种特别强烈的感觉有相关。
Okay, so that's sort of like the background there is that we have learned a whole lot of stuff, and we know this, that we have learned a whole lot of different ways of doing things, different ways of responding to situations that kind of model what our parents might have done in those situations. And we know that.
就是
most of us.
就是如果我们遇到一些状况的话，我们可能很大程度都是在用父母他们会应对的或是回应的方式来处理，然后而且我们是知道的。
We would probably, I think most people would recognize some time when you're with somebody and you would say, don't do it that way, you do it this way. We discussed something like this before, and if the person says, well, why would you do it that way? And really, we might not even have an answer for that. We just might say, well, that's just the way it's done. It's the way my mum did it, or it's the way my dad did it, or my grandmother did it. It's like, well, that's how you hang the washing. When you hang the washing, you always put the hook this way and the clothes are this way. Or when you make tea, you always put the milk in first. That's how it's done. If you have milk, you put milk in first, right? Or you just don't have milk in tea because that's not how it's done. Tea is without milk.
就是我们之前有讨论过，就是你可能会说，晾衣服就是要这样晾啊，就是要一个一个排好啊，因为你就是觉得就是这样，只能这样做，然后或是你可能就是红茶，你绝对不会加牛奶等等的，因为你的父母就是这样做啊，或是你的爸爸就是这样做，或是你的爷爷奶奶就是养育你的人，他们就是这样。所以你就很理所当然的觉得就是这样啊，为什么你做的是，就会觉得别人做的是很奇怪，然后自己做的才是正确。OK，
Okay, so that's the kind of the general theme of this chapter. The rest of the second half of this chapter is about that. And so anyway, so a couple of days ago, I was looking at some of my documents that I had scanned onto Google Drive, and I came across some documents that were handwritten notes that I had made when I went to a workshop many years ago called Money and You.
就是老师几天前发现了一些那个手写的那个文件资料，然后是他在几年前曾经就是带过工作坊，主题叫做"你与金钱"。
so maybe some of you know about Money and You, or you would say, well, maybe you also know about the guy who created that workshop, who was Robert Kiyosaki. So are you familiar with Robert Kiyosaki?
I don't know.
He wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh,
Or Poor Dad.
OK，
I think
富
it's
爸
Rich
爸
Dad.
与穷爸爸。
Anyway, he's huh?
Say again, what's his name?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, he's another one.
Another one. Yeah, okay. So yeah, well, kind of quite famous guy. Anyway, so I came across these notes, and I had a whole page of family money patterns, and these are, and I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting, you know. And I looked at those and think, oh, I could really use. I need to be reading these and really having a look at this. And I thought, well, we're talking about modeling tonight, and we're talking about patterns and adopting them, copying them from our parents. And I thought, well, this is a good list of family patterns which are related to money, which but also can be transferred across to all aspects of a relationship. They can be transferred across to the idea of love and affection. And I think they probably have been transferred from relationship, intimacy, and love across. I think Kiyosaki probably brought them across and looked at money. So I thought, wow, these are really quite interesting, and I thought that we could actually have a look at them and go through them. And you'll see there is I got 3 slides, and we could go through them and have and just translate them as we go and have a discussion about them. You know, what would be, so that's what I thought we could do. And we can ask the question, you know, do you have some experience that relates to this? Does this make you think about your own experience in some way?
就是因为我们今天要讨论那个模式嘛，然后刚好老师又发现他的这个笔记，所以他就觉得很适合，很适合拿来就是跟大家分享，然后而且也可以让大家自我检视一下，看我们是不是跟我们父母的金钱模式是很像的，然后同时他可能也会就是跟我们的就是情感啊，或是爱啊，或是这种亲密关系是会有相关的。对，然后我们就一起来一个一个看啊，一个一个讨论。OK，
Okay, is that big enough?
大家这样看得清楚吗？
Okay. So yeah, it would be good to get your thoughts and feedback as we go through and how this, if we can think about examples. Okay, so this first one here, is really just a statement covers the rest. So the idea is that we tend, which means to kind of have a tendency, it means we are likely to adopt, to take on personality traits, traits to personality ways, personality signs, personality ways of doing things. We're likely to adopt personality and behavior traits that our parents used when dealing with work and when dealing with money, which basically says that our parents' personality and their behavior, when they were having interactions, when they were doing things with work, when they were doing things with money, we're watching our father go to work every day, or we're watching our mother work at her job or work in the home, and we're watching the relationship they have with each other. We're watching how our parents like or don't like work, like going to work. We maybe we're watching when they come home from work. What happens then? Are they fighting? So they're actually more happy when they're working. So all of these things, there's their personality and their behavior when they're dealing with work, when they're dealing with money issues, we tend to adopt those behaviors and those traits. We're watching, we're really watching, and we tend to adopt. And it's tend doesn't mean that we will, it just means that there's a good chance that we could.
第一个就是在说那个我们父母的性格还有行为的这些特性，就是当他们在用他们的性格还有他们行为特性在处理工作的时候，或是处理金钱，有可能我们从小就会观察到，父母他们工作完回来，是不是有时候可能会吵架啊？那是不是我们就会觉得，好像在工作的话会比较快乐，然后好像在赚钱的时候好像是比较快乐，不会有吵架，然后或是我们就会倾向于去采纳他们的这种方式。Okay.
So straight away, the idea that we tend to adopt, we tend to take on, tend to copy the behaviors that our parents use when dealing with work and money. Is there does anybody recognize that they have in some way or get a feeling that in some way they do that?
有人要分享说你有观察到自己会这样，就是跟你的父母一样，会有这样的行为模式出现吗？可以分享。Yeah, I can share mine. I think my father is like a very faithful Buddhist, so he always donate his money to the temples or to the Buddhist group, or yeah. And then my mom always angry about it. It's like we are not using enough, so my mother will worry about the money is not enough for paying the life costs or the school costs or children's costs. But my dad always just donate. So, yeah. So I think I'm like my father. I always donate my money to anyone else but me. It's like when I have money, I will like, oh, I can spend on this. So for me, it's like money just not for myself. It's just for any kind of stuff.
Okay, so in a way that's interesting. So your father was giving a lot, giving to charity, Buddhist organizations, whatever. And your mother is worried that or your mother is feeling like the needs of the family are not being met.
Yeah.
Right. And so in a way then you have taken on, it sounds like you've almost got like those two dynamics within you. On one side of it, you're giving away, you're giving your money away. And then on the other side of it, you don't have enough or you feel there's
when you
there's
get
not enough.
all the monies away, you feel not enough.
Yeah, So you've got your father's experience and your mother's experience happening at the same time in you. It's sort of something like that, sounds like. Part of you is worrying that you don't have, there's not enough there for your own needs, but at the same time you're giving it away. That sounds like that's a conflict. There's quite a good conflict there, isn't there?
But I actually give away for my own needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not for charity or something.
Okay. So it's a bit modified. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody else want to say something or could say something about that? Just the idea of just maybe just noticing some basic similarity in the way you deal with money or the way you respond to work.
还有其他人要分享的吗？I can translate a little bit my share.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
我刚刚就是跟老师分享说，我发现我在花钱的模式跟爸爸很像，因为爸爸就是从小是很虔诚佛教徒，然后就一直捐钱，一直把钱捐出去，然后但是妈妈就是会觉得这样好像家用会不够，然后他们就会一起有争执，对，然后但是爸爸就还是持续的在捐钱。然后我就发现我好像有复制父母这种状况，就是我会一直可能有钱的时候，就会赶快把它花掉，或是赶快把它做别的事情。然后但是全部花完之后呢，就又会开始很焦虑说，哇，那我就是不够了，怎么办？对，然后就是有复制到这个模式这样，所以大家就可以去反思一下，看你有没有观察到自己的这种行为模式。那你可能是融合父母的某些特质，然后变成你自己的。嗯嗯 ，no，
Here, who's we got there? Okay. So this next one then, so that's kind of like the overview of that kind of is talking about all of it here. So the next one, you tend to recreate the kind of financial relationship or interactions you had with your parents. We tend to recreate the kind of financial relationship we had with our parents. So how our own, as kids, our financial relationship with our parents, we tend to recreate. Which do you want to translate that, Bonnie?
I'm not so sure what it means.
Okay, so again, the word tend just means there's a trend towards doing this. Recreate. So this means we make again, and the kind of financial relationship. So this is our financial relationship with our parents. So you can think about as when we are kids, we had a financial relationship with our parents.
Like how they give us money or
How they give us money.
How much they give us money.
How much, how willing they are to give it. What that relationship or interaction, that word there is interaction, interaction. It's terrible blocking. Interaction is, how it goes when we have the trade or, word we get some pocket money. I don't know if you use that word in Mandarin, but, they give you some money when you're not, you're young, you're not earning anything, but you want to buy an ice cream, so, did they give us pocket money? Did we get a little bit each week? Some parents do that. What were the interactions like? Did we have to work hard for it? Did we get it? Was it easy? Did we just, when we made a lot of noise, did we get something? So it's this kind of the kind of relationship, financial, and nourishment as well, the getting nourishment. What did it look like with our parents? You know, so we could just separate those two things. The kind we recreate the kind of financial relationship or the interaction we had with our parents. So the first thing is, what type of reaction, what type of interaction was that? What type of financial relationship was it? That's the first part of that. And then the second part is actually the recreate part. So they say, okay, well, what type of financial interaction did we have with our parents? What did it look like? Were they mean? You know, did they really give us anything at all? Did we have to fight for it? Did we, what did we have to do? And what was the energy and the emotions around that? That's the first part of that. So maybe we could just start there then. Let's just think about that for a second, because that should be fairly easy to think about. What was it as a kid, when you're a kid? What was it like? Kind of like getting money, asking for money. Were you given money?
好，第二题就是我们小时候的时候，你爸妈是用什么样的方式在给你金钱？就是你与你的父母之间的金钱的互动模式是什么？比如说你必须要什么考100分，然后才会有零用钱，或是还是你要很认真、很努力，然后你才会得到一点点的奖金，然后或是你想要买东西，然后他们会给你嘛，然后或是就是他们会很小气吗？就是他们在给你钱的时候，会是用什么样的方式给你？然后是你跟他们要的时候，他们会满足你吗？就是大家去想一下你自己的小时候的这个经验，对。
So perhaps we could just get a few words from each of us on what was that like for us? What's the first sort of feeling or thought that comes to us when we think about that when we were young? It could be any age. It could be 5 years old, 10 years old. What was that like?
就大家可以想一下，你直觉想到会有什么样的感觉，或是有什么样的想法，或是什么样的情绪，大家可以想一下，然后分享一下。Yeah, I think my keyword is like stingy.
Yeah.
For my mother and sneaky for my father.
Okay, stingy and sneaky. They're good words. So your father would give you money, but he would do it secretly?
Secretly.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. Well, I think from my experience when I was young was my mother never really had any money, so she wasn't in a position to really give me any, and my father didn't want to, so it was really quite difficult to get any.
No money at all.
Yeah, virtually. Yeah. Yeah. And it was tough times too. I mean, this is a while ago, so it's sort of after the Second World War, and it was pretty tough in England. So it was, but that was their personalities. My mother just sort of like surrendered, and she followed Dad, and my dad was stingy, really, really mean. Yeah. So I was always in need. Yeah. Yeah.
OK，好，我跟老师的关键字都是有小气，就是我的话，妈妈这边是我会觉得她很小气，然后爸爸的话就是会有点偷偷摸摸的会给我钱这样，然后老师的话就是因为他父母在2次世界大战在英国那时候就是没什么钱的，然后生活也是很困难，然后所以基本上他没有办法从父母身上得到任何的零用钱。就是有点小气啊，然后有点那种刻薄这样。Someone says it's easy to get money from the grandparents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was that Arma? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about from the parents though for that? And what about the parents?
所以如果是祖父母给你的话，那你的父母会给你吗？
Do you want to say?
You
You
可以
can speak in Mandarin. Might be easier for Bonnie.
你可以开麦克风分享一下，我会帮你翻译。
在说我吗？
都可以啊。
没有，我其实对我父母的金钱观念我没有什么印象哎。
不是他的金钱观念，是你小时候跟他们要钱的那个互动模式。他们就是你跟他们要钱，你想要买东西的时候，他们会怎么样回应你？
我从来没跟他们要过钱买东西耶。
啊，哇哦，
然后他就是固定，因为我妈妈在家里有家庭那种家庭手工嘛。那我爸爸可能除了上班，还会去假日，还有那种就是搬砖头的工作。然后他都会叫我跟着他去工作，然后说，比如说一个砖头多少钱，他都是用这样子，就是用工作来给我钱，
有付
这样。
出才有收获，这样。
对对对。
哦，嗯，Kelly says she never asked him for money of her parents, and it's always like she has to work for getting the parking money. Like we have like a house factory or yeah, she always work for getting her money since child.
Wow. Mm. And what was the feeling? What was the feeling then about with that? The with that?
哦，老师问说，那你有什么样的感受？就是当你小时候就必须要去工作，然后才有零用钱。你记得那时候有什么样的感受吗？或是你现在想起来有什么感受？
嗯，就是没有，就是工作，然后有钱，然后快乐这样子。
还是天下没有白吃的午餐之类的。
对，因为有时候没有钱，可是我知道我爸爸他们就是养5个小孩嘛，所以可能经济上也不是很那个，所以因为我也不吃零食，我也没有这种吃零食，小时候就没有吃零食的习惯，所以我很少需要钱。
所以你的感受是都 都没有要
需要
过钱。
对我没有要过钱，我甚至这一辈子在外面我工作，我也是都没有跟朋友去借过钱，或是要过钱，除非我真的是不得已，不然我绝对不会开口，我都是靠自己的工作来努力赚钱。
嗯
对，我都是想办法赚钱来帮自己。
嗯。She says she just like always earning money by herself and didn't ask for any help.
Yeah. Is that still the same now?
现在还是这样吗？
对呀，
Mm.
我现在也缺钱，可是我现在也是在想尽办法，在找就是工作的方向、工作的机会。对，我都是靠自己。对，
Mm.
She say even she needs money at the moment, but she always looking for work, job and earning money by herself.
Yeah. I would imagine that's this the being self-reliant, or I wonder if that's a fairly common sort of experience in Taiwan. They sort of like, you go to work, maybe working in the family business, or and that's how you would get support, money.
对，
Would that be?
Kelly 那边好像有杂音呢。你那边
杂音。我在房间里面呢，房间没有东西，没有任何的声音。
哦，OK。Does
可
anyone
能
hear the noise?
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. But
Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
谢谢 Kelly 的分
Yeah.
享。
So what's Ama? Is it Ama?
嗯
What's Ama saying here? Do you want to talk, Ama? You can talk in Mandarin, Chinese.
嗯，哦，she share in the message.
Mm-hmm.
She says in her memories she doesn't ask for money, and because it's like when she asks, it's not likely to get any, so she just steal the money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or
Okay.
find the money from the ground or ask for
Oh, wow.
parents. And she doesn't feel any lack of money. She
Mm-hmm.
always feel like abundance of money, and even she didn't earn money now, and she got her husband to support her.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. So I'm curious though. So what was the feeling then for Amars when, as a child, what was the feeling then? Because they would have had a feeling that went with it, So you didn't ask for any money because you knew you wouldn't get it, and so you relied on finding it, sort of thing. But maybe the feeling was you had enough coming to you. I don't know. What was the feeling? What was the feeling that went with that experience in childhood?
就是玉涵老师问说，这样你的感受是什么？就是你觉得基本上要也没有，然后只能自己发现的这种感受，你还记得吗？ 或是大概会像是怎么样？
Yeah, maybe you can talk. Mandarin might be easier.
可以用中文
其实不太记得嘞。
lost the memory.
Lots of memory. Okay. Well, if you just to sort of will say, well, I think what the feeling was probably what?
你觉得大概会是像什么？是你的感觉模糊？
就是我没有觉得，从小没有觉得匮乏的感觉，因为我爸爸是军人，然后我妈妈就所有的钱都交给我妈妈，然后由我妈妈去管嘛。但我妈就是她给我们的基本上该有的都有，好像我们小时候也不太会去要求要什么东西。对，因为祖父母那边真的会。我觉得他们有源源不绝的支持，就我的外公都会有放一个那个罐子，像聚宝盆那种，然后都叫我们要就自己去拿，要就自己拿。所以我觉得可能就是这个感觉让我觉得好像很丰盛。
那你偷偷拿都没有被抓过？
偷偷拿我妈的当然有，因为我不小心拿太大张了，
跟我一样。
然后被赶出家，而且被赶出家门，然后我们就离家出走，走到我爷爷那边去。对，
我也是不小心偷到太大张了，就被抓包。
真的，可是现在回想不会觉得就是被处罚的过程是不愉快的，就只是觉得好玩而已，就一个经验而已。
没有被处罚吗？
当然有啊，就被赶着，我妈妈帮我们收好包包，然后叫我们滚出去。但是我们又到我外公家，然后又被很好的招待，所以我觉得就是都没有那种匮乏或是真正被处罚。现在回想只会觉得有趣的经验。对，
哦，你很幸运欸，就是
是啊，真的。你要帮我翻译吗？
She say her father's money always give to her mother, and her mother will like just buy normal stuff, and yeah. And then I asked, oh, did you get cash from like steal the money? And then she said, yeah, of course. One time she get a big nose and then got caught. And then I was like, oh, I'm the same. I got like a big nose and got caught by my mother. But for her, it's good experience because her mother just said, oh, you can pack your like a luggage and then they just go to their grandparents' house and her grandparents treat them like a very good, so she doesn't feel like it's punishment at all.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. But it was punishment.
Kick her out.
It's like kick out.
Kick
out for stealing.
But
Wow.
she get better.
But the situation is better.
对，当你帮我讲那个重点，就是我爷爷会有一个聚宝盆，让我们可以自己想要就去拿，要花就去拿。对。
She said a key point is her grandfather have one container for pocket money. Like anyone can get the money from that and no limit or something.
Wow, that's a pretty good grandfather.
A lot of coin.
Yeah. A lot of coin. Wow. That's great. Oh, this make me feel sad now.
老师现在觉得很悲伤，很难过。We don't have big grandfather.
Yeah, my father, I didn't have a grandfather like that, but actually my grandfather was pretty, well, my mother's side was very generous actually. Yeah, but we never had anything like that. No, there was no money bank or piggy bank or anything like that, which is that sounds really nice experience. Yeah, we have one now. We have a pig. We've been doing it for a few years, and we put the 50 NT dollars into it. Whenever we get 50 NT dollars, we put it in there. We're not allowed to spend it, and it goes in there, and that's a good feeling. Yeah, that's interesting.
Envelope.
Oh yeah, an envelope. Yeah. So yeah, these patterns don't have to remain the same. But that's interesting then that you're saying so your mother didn't have any money but your father looked after her, and that sounds a little bit similar to, is that similar what you've got now?
就是你跟你妈妈现在的方式是不是跟你妈妈很像？就是都是老公赚钱给你花，就跟你妈妈一样，都是老公赚钱给你妈妈花，这样，爸爸赚钱给妈妈花。
可是不一样的是，我爸的钱全部都会给我妈，然后我老公会给我一部分家用，但是钱不给我管，因为我不会管。
哦。
我不擅长管钱，我只负责花。
哦。
对。
It's similar but a little bit different because her father give all the money to her mother and her husband give part of money to her.
Okay.
Because she will spend all the money.
Wow. Okay. Well, this kind of goes on to the next one of these points. I mean, all of these, there's a bunch more, but all of them, we won't be doing all of them. We might do a mixture of them, and some of these things we might do more than another one. But anyway, this goes on to the next one. You tend to copy the relationship, the kind of relationship that your parents had with work and money. So I think this one is an important one, and it's we're already kind of getting a bit of this. So I'll read it again. You can understand it for translation. So we tend to copy the kind of relationships that our parents had with work and with money. And that makes sense. We tend to copy their working habits, their attitude to work, and we tend to copy the way they had a relationship to money. So this example here is if your parents' relationship with money was one of struggle and scarcity, not enough, then having an easy, prosperous means kind of, plenty of money or enough money. Having an easy relationship with money could feel for us unfamiliar. It doesn't feel natural. And it could even be threatening. It could even feel kind of like just not right, scary. So does that make sense there? So we tend to copy, we can copy the kind of relationships that our parents had with money. How did they relate to money? Was their relationship with money at home was like, just like we've already said, did their parents feel like there's not enough? Did our parents always struggling? How about the bills? How about paying the rent or the mortgage, or, how about buying food? What was their relationship with that? Were they struggling with it? Were they feeling there was enough? Because whatever they felt about their dealing with money, that would become familiar to us.
第三点就是我们的父母跟他的工作或是跟他的金钱的关系是怎么样。就是如果你的父母跟金钱的关系可能是很匮乏，或是需要很努力，然后很奋斗才会有钱，或是工作都要很努力啊，然后很付出很多才有办法得到钱。然后这样的话，我们就会对于去轻松拥有钱，或是拥有这种丰盛的这种跟金钱的关系，我们会觉得很陌生，而且会觉得好像是危险的。 因为我们就是很熟悉父母，他们对钱可能就是很紧张啊，然后是很紧抓着，然后觉得都不够用的这种，大家可以去想一下，你父母对于金钱的关系是怎么样，然后有没有影响到你？
Yeah, so we can look at that. We can look at what type of relationship our parents had with money, and work. Did they, for example, did they enjoy work? Did our father enjoy work, or or did he resent going to work? Did he not want to go to work? Was he always unhappy at work? Did he struggle with getting enough money? Did he make plenty of money? Did he feel that he had enough money? So it's their relationship with money. Did your mother always feel like, did your mother work? And did your mother did she have independence in her income? Or was she always waiting for the husband to give the money? So what's her relationship with that? What was her feeling with that?
就是你爸爸在工作的时候，他是开心的吗？或是他是觉得很痛苦，还是很不得已才做的工作？然后或是你妈妈是不是有办法是拥有独立的收入，还是都是仰赖爸爸给他的金钱？对，去回想一下。
So we could say again, let's just kind of like find out what you think about that, whether they can relate to that. So do you see some copying of the kind of in your own life now, how you feel about money? Do you think there's can you see something the same in the way your parents feel about money? That's I think that's the question. Does the way your parents felt about money related to money, can you see something similar in the way you relate to money or to work? Yeah. So let's just get some comment.
所以大家可以去想一下，你回想到你父母的这种跟工作关系，或是跟金钱的关系，然后你再来想一下，你目前就是你的人生跟你对工作的关系，或是对金钱的关系有什么雷同的地方吗？或是有什么很相似的模式出现，可以分享一下。
我可以分享一下。
我
爸妈，因为我爸是军人，我觉得他们工作都很认真，也为家庭。但是当我看到比较好的一面是，他们都会舍得花钱，不会说只赚钱。就是他们就是就是他们的收入也很愿意拿来就是享受生活，所以我觉得这对我现在的就影响很大。
是爸爸妈妈都愿意花钱享受生活。
对，都不
哦
是那种守财奴。
哦，
所以他们这种方式就对我现在就是我们也是这样子。对，
She share her father is soldier, but her parents both like to spend money for getting a better life. Not just don't spend any penny on joy or something. So she copy that model. She copy that pattern and she like to spending money to enjoy her life now.
Oh, so you didn't copy that.
Oh,
Did copy.
she did copy that. No.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that's a good thing.
就是好的影响。
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
I want to say before my dad always he always put like when I was senior high school student, and he will give me like 3,000 a month. And then every time on the end of the month, when he got salary, and then he put 3,000 note on the blind in my bedroom, it's display there. So when I come home and then walk into bedroom, open the door, oh, it's money hang up there.
Wow.
And he really enjoyed that. He really enjoyed that. Yeah. And or even later it's become more like a 10,000 for a month, when I was studying university. And then he will put that, like, spread it and put it on your bed. And then when you open the doing it, oh, it's the money. He really like to put surprise in giving family money. Like give it to my mom's like that or something.
Wow.
But he's really mean to himself. He almost didn't spend money on himself. But he's really generous to family.
Wow.
Wow, it's like a Santa Claus. 圣诞老人吗？
Oh, yeah, I didn't know about this. Wow.
She is like imply something.
I think that's amazing thing though. That is really, that really, what's a child's reaction going to be to that is well, there's always enough, or the world is generous to you. I think it's very powerful. Do you want to say that in Mandarin?
就是说我小时候那个我爸他很喜欢，他给我零用钱的时候，他都很喜欢把那个钱晾在很显眼的地方，然后让你一进房间就会看到这样。对，他好像很享受给家人钱的时候，然后用一种很浮夸的方式给你惊喜这样，然后他就会很开心。可是他对自己又是蛮苛刻的，就是他赚钱他很舍不得用在自己身上，他不觉得他需要用到这么好的，他觉得能用就好。甚至后来就是你要给他，他都会拒绝，他不觉得他要用到这么好的这样的那种，对。但是他对家人都很慷慨，对，大概这样。对。然后 Loy 刚刚就讲说，这个方式可能就是让小朋友永远觉得这个世界是慷慨的，是足够的，然后我永远会有资源可以使用，这样。对。
Okay, let's.
Yeah, anyone want to share? Anyone else? 还有谁想要分享自己的观察吗？美清要不要分享一下？美清，我们今天的主题是 money。
哦，原来美清在啊。
刚上线。
Okay.
你有要分享的吗？有的话可以开麦克风哦。
Okay, so let's, should we move on? Yeah. Okay, so this next one here is interesting. So this one here, to the extent, I'll read it first. So to the extent our parents disapproved of our nourishment needs and requests, and then here is nourishment, because it's also important to think about nourishment as, it's not just the idea of money, it's the idea of nourishment. To the extent our parents disapprove of our early nourishment needs or requests, our requests for money or our requests for something, we will tend to recreate that disapproval from others or anticipate that disapproval. So, did you So if our parents disapproved, so we get disapproval, you know what disapproval is, Bonnie? Disapprove of us, have some judgment. If our parents judged us, disapproved of our need, our requests, needs or requests for money. For example, if for example, say you were at school and the school is going to go on some trip, or they're going to do something for the day, and everybody needs to get lunch, and you want to have, you need 100 NT, and they're not happy about giving it to you. Or you need something for sports, you need a new ball, or you need new sporting, you need new shoes, or whatever it is. Many needs that we have as kids that are going to cost some money. So if our parents they gave us a sense of disapproval about having to meet that need, right? Then does that make sense? We have a need, but the feeling we get is we shouldn't have this need. Hey, what do you need that for? What do you need that for? You don't need new shoes. You got shoes already. How many do you need?
You always talk that.
Right. So
yeah.
So that being disapproved of, right? So there's a chance then that we could recreate that when we are now as adults needing things, requesting things. Or we could anticipate, just means that we could expect that response when we ask for something or when we need something. We could expect, whether it happens or not, we could anticipate or be afraid that we're going to get this disapproval response when we have something we need. Okay, you want to have a go at translating that then? This is an important one.
好，这个蛮重要，这个就是在说，我们小时候受到那个父母，就是支持跟不支持的程度，然后会，比如说，就是像我们如果小时候有一个需求，你想要买一双球鞋，那你的父母是支持你的，还是他们会骂你说，干嘛换球鞋？就是或是你有需要吗？就是你的父母他小时候是用什么程度在反驳你，然后或是没有提供这样的营养支持，或是没有针对你的需求来支持你的需求的话，我们很有可能我们会倾向于重新创造这种不被支持的感觉。在我们就是成年的时候，我们可能会从别人那边也是感受到这种不被支持的感受，或是我们会预期说，哎，我提出这个需求之后，好像会被拒绝，然后或是不被支持。对，大家可以去想一下，有没有这种的经验或是连结。
Okay.
My dad is really generous to his family, right? And I remember he said that's because when he was child and he always need to jealous other kids have something to eat, some can buy some cookie, can buy some drink, and then he always just really jealous and wanting, but he has nothing. So that's why he doesn't want to make his child has same situation. So he always really generous, give us enough money or resource to buy the thing we want. Yeah, but in the same time, he still treat himself quite mean. Yeah. So maybe that's the way his father give it to him, and then he kind of creative or redo it or something.
So he
So
might feel.
I have one question. So May, do you have guilty about it? Like you are in a good life, but your dad is not enjoying his life. Do you feel guilty about it?
You mean guilty when I buy too expensive thing or something like that?
Well, you mean guilty that that your father is looking after you, but he is not looking after himself, and it's costing him. So his money's going to you, but you could think that at his expense, his cost. He's not getting it. He's giving it away, and he's suffering.
Yeah, before I did feel sorry about he always give me what he has. And I kind of can't really enjoy that money because I feel guilty, or I feel, this is not my needing, this is just what I want. 好像会耶，就是当他给我他的所有，然后我就不能更放心的享受那个钱，因为我会觉得这只是我想要，这不是我需要之类的。对，好像会有一点。
因为我爸也是这一种的，他就是也是很省吃俭用，然后就把全部的钱都给我花。My father saved all the money for my business and supporting my spending.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
我可以分享吗？
可以啊。
我就是我们家小时候家境并不是很好，但我妈妈会帮我们找工作机会。就她家庭代工，比如说我们家附近有卖槟榔的，她就帮我们找，就是比如说寒暑假可以捡槟榔，然后自己赚多少钱，就会帮我们找这样的工作，然后就自己去赚，然后就是让自己也觉得，我那么小，但是我也是有能力自己赚钱，所以那个感觉也很好。所以我现在带自己的2个小孩，我也是有用这样的方式，就是自己没有办法给他们，但是我会帮他们找机会。对。
So she share her in her childhood, her mother were looking for like some working opportunity for them, so they can earn their pocket money by themselves, and then she using the same pattern to her children now. Like
also make kids feel they have an ability to earn something they need.
Yeah. And there is they also learn trade skills. That's what you say, isn't it? They have the ability. It actually is. I think that's what they call it. If your child works in your shop and they learn the business, they're now learning the trade skill. It's quite a valuable experience. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so this second part here is connected to that. So the first one there is saying that to the extent our parents disapprove of our early nourishment needs, we will tend to recreate that disapproval from others. So we'll what that means there, we'll recreate that disapproval from others, is that we will tend to kind of like recreate, sort of like draw disapproval out of people, sort of like pull it out of them, create it in others. Even if they didn't want to be disapproving of us, we'll kind of make it so they are. That's the kind of, or we're expecting it to be. So this one down here, we may attempt to avoid disapproval by modifying our needs and financial requests, and thereby gain approval, acceptance, love, harmony. So the idea is, okay, disapproval, not being approved of. Well, we don't want that, do we? we want to be approved of. We want to feel loved. We want to feel that, you know, our parents are approving of us. As adults, we want to feel that people approve of us. We don't want to feel people don't like us or judge us or think we're greedy or something like this, or ask too much. So as adults, then, if we had this disapproval as children, then as adults, we'll try and avoid that disapproval. And one way we can do that is we can change our modify, that's what it means there. We can change our needs, change our financial demands. And that'll try, and the idea is we're trying to get acceptance. We're trying to get love. We're trying to not cause any problems. And so that might mean that we actually, this self-denial, it might mean that we don't tell the truth about what we need. Or it might mean that we hide what we need. Or it might mean that we don't give ourselves anything at all because we don't want to ask. And if we ask, we think we'll be disapproved of, so we don't ask. So this is quite a common thing. We can check ourselves and see, do we have something like this going? Do we worry that if we ask for money, we're going to get a negative reaction? That would be a simple test of that. Do we worry that if we ask for too much money, we're going to get some negative reaction? Do we worry that, you know, anything above the lowest level is too much? You know, so there's different ways we can think about it to try and just check. You know, are we worried about being disapproved of for requesting our needs to be met?
就是这边的话，因为我们可能童年有遭受到一些你的需要，你提出你的需要，但是是不被支持的这种回应，那所以我们在长大之后，我们可能会尝试想要避免同样的状况再发生，那你可能就会改变你的需求，或是你可能会隐藏你真实的需求，因为你不想要再收到那种就是被拒绝啊，或是不被支持的这种回应或者这种感觉，因为大家都想要被爱啊，大家都想要被支持啊，所以我们可能就是会去否认我们自己有这样的需求，或是去否认我们自己有这样的那个金钱的渴望，然后或是去隐藏，然后就是去做一些方式可以避开这些你小时候没有得到满足的这些状况，这些真实的需求。
Anyone notice anything like that happening?
Yeah, I can share one of my self-awareness is like when I got caught by stealing my mother's money, and then I got like a serious punishment, and then makes me feel like, oh, it's not right to take anything from other people. So I will avoid to take any kind of stuff from other people in my adult life. Like when someone want to give me something, I will like, oh, maybe I will get punishment, or maybe she will ask for something from me. Like it's not good to take other people's stuff or for free, or even if I want it, and it's not good to take it.
Yeah. You want to say that in Mandarin?
So it's my trauma.
Yeah, it's your trauma. Yeah, it's a pattern from childhood.
就是我就跟老师分享一个我的自我觉察，就是因为我小时候会偷妈妈的零用钱去 买零食吃，然后但是因为就是那一次不小心偷到太大张，然后被抓到。其实我已经偷很多次，可是那一次就是真的是偷到1000块，然后而且又是过年，然后就妈妈就有察觉到这样，然后我就有被严重的处罚，而且是所有兄弟姐妹都知道，所以就是对我就形成了一个信念，就是我不应该拿别人的东西，或是我不应该接受任何不是属于我的，然后就变成可能长大之后有人要免费请我吃东西啊，或者要给我东西，我都会觉得有点害怕，就想说，哎，如果我拿了，会不会发生什么不好事，或是他可能会要求我给他什么，就会变成这种很害怕去拿别人的东西，或是很害怕接收礼物的创伤行为。对，OK，还有谁要分享吗？有人有想到想要分享的吗？可以分享一下。嗯
我分享一下好了。
嗯
我是对父母亲的，就是我刚刚讲了那么多那个经验，就是其实我没有什么，因为他们对我们就是拒绝过我们什么要求，然后其实不太有印象。不过想要分享的是，就是我自己有小孩之后，可能之前有上过 AC，所以就对于因为小孩子是他才不管你要不要答应，他都会提出他的需求。然后也是因为这样，一开始的时候会觉得你小孩子怎么这么小就这么贪心，就会有这种念头嘛。可能一定也是因为从小有深植在我们里面的那种记忆。但是从小孩身上，然后就上 AC 的课之后，就会开始去看他的需求真的是，就还有就加上以前我们都常讲什么，你是想要还是需要，你只能买需要的东西，不能买想要的东西。那因为有孩子之后，会让我们一直去突破这个盲点，对，就会一直觉得真的不行吗？然后就会，对，就会往那种，就给孩子那种比较不是匮乏的感觉，是从丰盛的，就小孩子，反正我不知道怎么讲就是小孩子他就是无限的需求，无限的要求，对，当然我们不是都满足他，但是会从他身上去，好像找到以前为什么我们要拒绝他，会去一次一次的觉察为什么会拒绝他，因为以前我们可能被拒绝过，那是什么也是这样去突破打开，就是真的需要跟想要，为什么不能买我想要的东西，然后也会反过来看自己，我想要的东西为什么我不能拥有，就会去慢慢检视这些，然后所以现在就真的。对啊，就是慢慢打开越来越多。经有小孩之后，对，好，我的分享。
很棒的分享。Oh, she share like she having 2 kids now, and then she can see the way she treat her kids like to get some awareness of her modeling from her parents, like her parent her child will like oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then normally she will like say, oh, it's not what you need, it's just what you want. But then she will stop a little bit and then think, oh, why why the child cannot get what they want. So she will like think about it, and it's maybe from her childhood. It's like her mother only give they what they need, like not what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she is changing this model to her kids, and not like give what they want all the time, but she is keeping open up to that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, the whole being a parent is such a gift in that way, that it it gives us the opportunity to see these patterns and to think about them. Think about, do we want to continue with that, or do we want to modify it, or is it helpful or not? So that's great. That's great to be able to be aware of that.
老师说很棒啊，就是成为父母就是一个很好可以去检视我们自己，还要不要继续我们父母亲的这种模式对待我们模式。是个
对，所以我很感恩小孩。
So she's grateful for her children.
Yeah. And all our relationships are providing us with the same opportunity. As partners, we're going to set up these kind of situations with our partner, and other people in our lives. We will be creating these situations where we have the feelings and the behavior that we learned as kids. So it's an opportunity. Relationships give us that opportunity. Without relationships, then we don't get that opportunity to actually see. If we're expecting our partner to disapprove of us, we can look at that and we think, well, I'm expecting you to disapprove when I ask for this. Wow.
就是大家也可以从任何日常生活中的关系去来检视自己到底拥有什么样的一个信念状态，然后你可能会很惊讶，想说，哦，我居然潜意识觉得我的伴侣一定不会支持我做什么什么。对，那可能就是来自你小时候就是有被拒绝或是没有被支持的经验。
I think an important thing to kind of like take from this as well is that the patterns we learn, the patterns we've taken on from our parents, they have a level, whether they work well or not, or they limit us, or whether, whatever they do, they have a level of being familiar. It's the same, comes from the same word. So, they are familiar to us. They feel comfortable. They feel like natural. So even this having not much, having a very poor life, can feel very comfortable, very natural. It's the feeling of worrying about money can feel quite comfortable. We worry about it, but it feels kind of normal. So it's good to think about that. And the other side of that is that if we are having, if we had a kind of a very poor life as kids, that's what our family situation was, struggle for money, for example, then having it easy and having plenty of money is going to feel really strange. It's going to feel unfamiliar. We would have to get used to it. We would have to change our, experience. We'd have to become familiar with that experience. It's going to be strange. And there's an interesting thing, when people win the lottery, Lotto. When people win the Lotto, right? It's well known, that within a few years, they win a lot of money, and within a few years they have nothing. It's all gone again. Even if it's enough money to live the rest of your life quite comfortable, in a few years it's gone. Right? Because it's really unfamiliar. It's really strange. It doesn't feel comfortable to have all of that. Don't know what to do with it. Haven't learned how to deal with it. Haven't learned how to go and, invest. Haven't learned things. It doesn't feel right. So the solution, get rid of it quickly.
Yeah, yeah, 就是老师刚刚是分享说，那个在英文里面，家族跟熟悉，它其实是来自同一个字，就是家族就是我们最熟悉的地方嘛。然后所以虽然你可能会很焦虑说啊，我就是没有钱，然后我会很焦虑，可是因为你太熟悉，你从小就是很熟悉那种爸妈常常为钱在烦恼。然后觉得很为金钱就是匮乏，因为你从小就一直接收这样的感觉跟感受，然后所以你对这样的状况是非常的熟悉，而且是非常的舒服的。然后，然后你会觉得这是自然的，而且是很正常的，所以你就是当你突然有钱之后，你会觉得很不习惯，或是就是很矮耶，然后就是会很想要把它赶快再花掉，这样你才会又有这种正常变回正常，或是变回熟悉的感觉。就像大家应该都知道，就是如果是中乐透的人，他就是可能在几年内他又会一无所有，就回到他原本的状态。其实就是因为他太太不熟悉这种有钱的感觉，或是可能变成富人的这种感觉。对，嗯
Yeah.
，OK，
Okay, so I'll just say this last one, and when we need to finish up. So this last one here is that we tend to reproduce the pattern of income generation our parents had. We tend to adopt their work patterns and attitudes. So this one here is saying that it's possible that we reproduce the pattern of income. So let me give you an example. Say our parents' income came, say one thing, it could be nice and stable income, same amount of money coming in pretty much all the time, stable job, and so there's a regular income coming in, each week or each month, right? So we might tend to reproduce or to copy that pattern of income coming into us. Or so in my situation, my father, when he first started work, or when I was young, he had a regular income. He was in the military, right? He had a regular income, government job, very stable, right? But later on, he became self-employed, and then his income was all over the place. He would get some big money sometimes, nothing for ages. Then the big money sometimes, nothing for ages. Then we get a little bit, then nothing, and then some big bit. So it was very unstable. So I have tended to, my pattern of money has been a little bit like that. In the beginning, I had a stable job for quite a while. Then I became self-employed, and my money was like at different levels. And then I would make some money in some property, and so it would be up and down, big bit here, big bit there, small, very similar to my father.
就是最后一点是我们有可能会重新制造这种父母曾经收入的模式，然后到我们现在的生活。就像如果你的爸爸以前是有固定稳定收入的话，那你可能现在你也会想要创造一个是有固定稳定收入的工作。然后老师就分享说，他爸爸以前就是在早年的时候是有稳定工作的，然后就每个月固定，但是后来呢，他爸爸就决定要自己创业，然后所以就开始有时候会有一大笔钱，然后有时候可能又完全没有，就是会变成很不稳定，然后有时候有，有时候没有，然后所以老师就说他其实是复制他爸的模式，就是他在他年轻的时候也是有一份固定的工作，就是可能就是心理师的工作这样，然后有稳定的收入啊，对，可是他就是后来他就决定要自己 那个创业，然后自己研究他的疗法之后，他的就会变，就是也是不太稳定，就是有时候有很大笔的收入，然后有时候可能就一段时间都没有这样。OK， you didn't turn on the voice.
Okay, how's that?
嗯
Okay, so I think that it's what's important here is to point out that these are patterns. They are learned behavior.
嗯，
Yeah.
就是这些模式都是我们学习而来的，它是可以被打破的。
Yeah, and they will be familiar, and changing patterns can feel uncomfortable.
因为太熟悉了，所以在改变这些模式的时候，你会觉得很不舒服。
Yeah, so for example, if you want to go from having a regular job to being self-employed, then that's a different pattern. Maybe that pattern is in your family background. Maybe that's been done before. And so therefore it will be, that won't be so difficult. It will be familiar. But maybe if it's not there, then that will be a challenge.
就是比如说像你想要从固定的工作去切换到那个自雇，就是自己当老板的工作的话，你可能会有一些挑战，因为有可能这种稳定的工作是你长期你的家族都是做这种稳定的工作，然后突然你要换到一个是没有稳定收入的工作的话，你可能会觉得害怕啊，然后是很不熟悉，或是觉得很有挑战。那当然也有可能你的家族是也有人这样做过的话，你可能就会觉得，就是没有那么的不熟悉，就是一点点这样。
Yeah. Okay. I just mentioned another pattern here. Another pattern is quite important to think about is that we tend to not earn more than what our parents did.
老师还有提到，再多提一个模式，就是我们倾向于不赚比我们父母更多的钱。
Yeah. Although we tend to adjust it for time and inflation, things like that. So it's like, becomes similar.
就是我们可能会有不同的这种收入，但是我们可能会让它平均不会超过父母的。
Yeah. So yeah, and so they can be changed, but if we want to change them, we have to change our beliefs.
所以如果你想要改变这种模式的话，你就要从你的信念开始改变。
Yeah. And we have to really accept the feelings that come with the change.
然后我们要去真正的接受，就是这个改变带来的这些新的感受。
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's quite a lot to think about. And you can just think about that. I mean, it's a subject that everyone's interested in. So it's worthwhile just to think about it a bit. Okay. Thank you for participating, and thank you for sharing some of your stories.
OK， 今天的这个主题大家都很有兴趣，然后也很关心，所以大家可以就是好好的去反思一下，然后自我觉察一下。对，然后就谢谢大家今天的参与还有分享。
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
谢
you
谢。
谢谢。
那晚一点会把连结传上去，大家也可以分享给你的亲朋好友来收听，大家一起打破金钱模式。OK。